Hey guys, Dale here. I know you've heard us talk about Manscaped and Manscaped.com plenty in the last few weeks or few months during the whole off season. You guys, if you have not at least been on the website and searched around, you're doing yourself a disservice. Manscaped.com is probably the best grooming tool website that you could possibly get. I'm sure you've gotten razors and different things from different stores, but I'm telling you, me and Christian and John and Armando have been talking about this from day one as soon as we found out about it, and especially the Lawnmower 2.0, the no-nick technology. It's waterproof. You hook it up to a USB cable to charge it. All their products are top-notch. It's really awesome. If you want to trim your balls and you don't want to worry about nicking your ball sack, then I highly urge you to go check out manscaped.com. Order yourself a Lawnmower 2.0. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. You heard Christian yesterday even say that he shaved his chest with it, and it shaved around his nipples with no problem. So it's versatile. You can do whatever you want. Manscaped.com, enter promo code ESF, and you get 20% off. So you support the show by going to the website and helping out our sponsor, and at the same time, you're helping out your balls, and you're looking good. So check it out, manscaped.com, promo code ESF.
Yeah, eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation with
John,
Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy, football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Eat, Sleep, Fantasy.
hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Eat, Sleep, Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Dale. Thanks for joining us and downloading on this awesome Friday. If you're listening Friday, Saturday, if you're listening Sunday, maybe it's not too late. Definitely if you're listening to it on a Monday, you need to shut this off and go to our most recent episode. But thanks for downloading because it helps our numbers. With me is, I know you've seen his articles fly off the shelves at eatsleepfantasy.com. It is a website. Clayton Cadu. Man, did I say... Today, I thought, okay, I'm going to say Clayton's name right, and we're just going to move past it, and we're not going to talk about your last name, and I screwed it up.
No, you did. You were close. A lot closer than it's been, that's for sure.
Okay. If you guys can't understand what he's saying, he is Canadian, so if you don't speak Canadian, you might not understand all the crazy words he says today on the podcast. But he is super knowledgeable. He writes our starts and sits article. He writes our waiver wire article on our website. I'm really bad at hosting. And I'm really bad at talking. Today. I should not have a podcast. That's for sure. But Clayton's going to help us today going over some of the sits and starts that he mentioned. We're going to go through the mailbag on our Eat Nation private group on Facebook. Once a week, we try to get on there just to do a Q&A, and we figured to go ahead and do a podcast on it today. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go through some sits and starts. I recently published my rest of season rankings, which is going to help you guys with trading and just looking at rest of season, who to stash and things like that. It does change, and it is going to morph almost day to day, week to week. So you might want to keep checking out on it. Again, it's eatsleepfantasy.com, the website on the internet. Clayton, everything's going all right?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's looking forward to this finally. I bailed on you a couple times here, so it's good. Good.
No. Here you go, just trying to be Mr. Nice Guy again. We were going to record together. I don't know, like a month ago, and then I just canceled on you like literally last minute.
Yeah, you did. I was waiting, and then I texted you, and you're like, "Oh man."
Yeah.
But that's okay. Yeah. No big deal. We're on now.
Life with a 2-year-old is tough, man.
Well, you don't have to tell me.
But I'm going to make it up to you because this is probably going to be our most popular episode ever. You're going to get tons of feedback. You're probably going to get tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter just from this podcast alone. If you guys aren't following Clayton, what's your Twitter handle, Clayton?
It's at Cadu Clayton. That's at CADIEUX Clayton. Yeah, I know. It's stupid Twitter handle,
that might be
man.
worse than Steve's.
Yeah, I should maybe try to change it or something at some point.
Why aren't you like Canadian Clayton?
Hey, that'd be a good
like,
one.
I don't know. That actually, my best ideas come from the top of my head. I'm telling you, that was a good one. If you have a better name for Clayton than Canadian Clayton on Twitter, let
Absolutely.
him know. He's also on the
I'll
Facebook group.
be. I have no problem changing it if I get a pretty sweet name to change it to for sure.
And if you pay him like $20, he'll name it whatever you want.
Exactly.
He's cheap.
Hey man, if I had
Clayton,
the American money compared to our Canadian money, I'd be loaded. Our dollar is horrible.
Does every Canadian say that? Like, man, if I only lived in America.
Oh, well, you guys have the best. You guys have the cheapest booze, that's for sure. And just everything's so much better there. I love California. I need to move there.
Yeah, do you?
It's only in the winter months. In the winter months, I do.
Right. Yeah, then that's when you start feeling sad and want to move. All right, so there's a couple things really quick. I guess we'll go into the mailbag, knock that out, because I know a lot of the people are waiting to hear their questions answered, and that's kind of important. And maybe some of this will kind of morph into the starts and stits as we start talking about these players.
Yeah,
Sound
absolutely. Good? Let's jump into it.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I guess we don't have to tread lightly. Let's just dive into it. I will say, look, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, I'll just go from the top and go down. Curtis Williams, Chef Curtis. I think you guys know him on the podcast. For those listening a while, Curtis really wants your thoughts on Sanders. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Emmanuel Sanders. I'll give my thoughts, but I know you have some stuff on Sanders that you want to share.
Yeah, I think, what was the question? He wanted to know why we ranked him so low. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Why Sanders is ranked so low the first couple weeks, and then he has a couple other questions. But let's start with Sanders.
Well, to start, I have him for this week at least. I have him as my wide receiver 34. And he's been good. He's been amazing the last couple of weeks. He's the number 3 wide receiver 3 in fantasy right now. He's had 20 targets through 2 games. And what was an interesting stat that I saw was he's only running 26% of his snaps out of the slot. So he's actually doing all his production on the outside against the team's top cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. For me, it's not Sanders that I'm worried about. It's Joe Flacco. It's how dependable is Joe Flacco, especially in this offense where he's not expected to score a ton of points anyways. That's what kind of scares me. So, yeah, Sanders is above average, but are you going to count on him week to week? I don't think you can. This week.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just about to say, yeah. Well, I was just going to jump into this week as well. Like, we're going to facing the Packers. I think it's a bad matchup for him for sure.
Yeah. Joe Flacco attempted the second most out of any quarterbacks last week. I don't think that's going to be normal, you know? And the Packers defense is improved. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Packers defense. Actually, I think it's a pretty good defense to stream this week as well. And maybe even rest of the season, keep looking at Green Bay because they're going to be sneaky. But I don't think this week is a great week to start Sanders if you absolutely don't have to.
Exactly. I agree with that too. And, the issue is because of, I don't know, I'm going to get this name wrong, but he's going to be shadowed mostly if he does line up on the outside like he has been by Jair Alexander. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
The only way that I think he does have success this week is if he plays more out of the snap or out of the slot, because Alexander doesn't play slot coverage. And the guy that's going to be covering him is Aman Williams, and he can easily be beat. So if he turns all those plays more than half of his snaps out of the slot, then he could be productive. But I can't really see that happening this week.
Yeah.
And I do hate Flacco.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hate him too. I don't think I've ever ranked him above like quarterback 25, like in the past 3 years. I mean, just not dependable. And yes, can he have a top 12, week somehow? Yeah, he definitely can, especially given game script. But I'm not betting on that week to week.
No, you can't.
All right, our friend Souk Dave, panicking with Kamara. What's going on with Kamara here? I have him. Let's see, for this week, I'm just looking back at my rankings. You can find all our rankings on our website. I have Kamara at, where did I have him at? Alvin Kamara. I have him at 8 this week, which is probably lower than a lot of people. I have him lowest out of everybody here in our consensus at EC
Actually,
Fantasy.
it's funny because I also have him at 8.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I have him. Yeah, I have like Austin Eckler's ahead of him. I have David Johnson ahead of him. What the problem is with that is I don't know, I'm panicking very much, but is the whole Taysom Hill thing. Like the fact that if he's going to be on, especially when they're, in the red zone, like he's going to be taking touches away from Kamara.
Yep.
So that's my only concern about Kamara.
Yeah, last week he had only 3 targets against the Rams, and he plays a tougher defense in Seattle this week. Only 13 rushes week 1, and the same as week 2. So he's not that huge, volume guy yet. And I don't know if we were really expecting him to or what. But, yeah, and especially with Hill, they're kind of, like you said, grabbing the ball inside the 5-yard line. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Panicking, no, but a little nervous, yeah.
Well, just it worries you because do you know how many red zone touchdowns did Hill have last year? I think he had a few for sure that he took away from Kamara, and depending on how many snaps, like with Payton saying that it's going to be they're just going to pretty much run both quarterbacks out there.
Right.
Like you don't know what's going to happen. I'm like really curious. I want to see how this all pans out on when they play on Sunday, and maybe we have a better understanding of what's going to happen to this offense moving forward.
Yep. I mean, with Drew Brees out there, and if the offense is rolling, normally I'd have no problem playing Kamara, even if he gets a tough matchup, because they're going to get the ball in his hands some way. 20 plus times, right? Or 15 to 20 times at least. I know he's not a huge volume guy, but the limited carries, 13 carries and just a couple of targets isn't enough for him to be that strong top running back that we all hoped he would be.
Exactly.
So, all right, I'm just going down the list here because there are good questions in here. I'm going to skip some of the ones. We can't talk about Lamar Jackson anymore because I think we hit our limit, and we can't talk about Todd Gurley anymore.
What did you change topic real quick? What did you think of that trade I made with John in Dynasty?
What was it?
I got Lamar Jackson, Christian Kirk, and Cooper Kupp, and I gave up Pat Mahomes and Deontay Johnson.
That's a really good trade for you.
So, here's my understanding. The original trade was going to be Jackson and Diggs, and my problem is on that team is I have pretty solid running backs, and my receivers I needed depth, right? So I wanted to go. I went after Odell. He had no part of that, or Julio. So then he's the one that came up with the Christian Kirk and the Kupp, and the reason being is because Diggs is inconsistent. In my opinion, I just think week to week he's inconsistent, and I think out of those 3 receivers in with the Rams, I think Kupp's the most consistent of them all. So
yes,
and I got depth
absolutely.
with Christian Kirk back there too. Now both guys are startable this week, so I was very happy to accept it.
Look, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to finish the season as the number 1 quarterback, right? And so, probably by a pretty good margin. But Lamar Jackson and Cooper Kupp, I think it's a pretty fair trade. I think I like your side a little bit better.
Yeah, and everyone on my poll I put on Twitter as well, everyone agreed with that too. So
yeah, I like it.
So yeah, sorry to get off topic there. Just talked about Lamar Jackson.
No,
so
I mean, yeah. As soon as I said don't talk about Lamar Jackson anymore, you want to talk about him. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
That's how they do it. That's how they do in Canada. Manny Manny Parra wants, or I guess it's not even a question. I get is grill dogs are better than micro dogs are better than boiler dogs. Prove me wrong. I agree. You grill the hot dog, which is the best. You microwave the hot dog, which is the second best. You just never boil the dogs. So
boiling hot dogs.
You agree with this, Clayton?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, good. Maybe I should be Canadian because most everybody says boil.
No, I don't. It is. I wouldn't even really eat a microwave dog, but I'd eat a microwave dog over a boiled hot dog.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Geez. Okay. So the hot dogs are on people's minds. If you could choose 1 to 2 condiments on your hot dog, what would it be?
For me, is ketchup and mustard for sure.
Of course. Yeah. All right. The next question is pretty interesting. We do get some questions about Austin Eckler. Do you keep him rest of the season, or do you try to sell him high now? I have an answer. Do you? I want to hear your thoughts, and I will. I'll talk a little bit about my rest of the season rankings here.
Well, in my opinion, I wouldn't. I would roll with him the rest of the year. Right now, he's getting the exact same amount of carries as Melvin Gordon was getting last year. He's averaging 14.5 carries a game, 6 receptions. With no Hunter Henry now, I think he's probably going to he's going to catch a few more balls out of the backfield. And the one thing that I found was interesting was even last year with Gordon, Eckler still had almost 1,000 yards, total yards, and 6 touchdowns. I don't think that changes when Gordon does come back, to be honest with you. I think he already, if he comes back, he's game script proof, so he's always on the field. He may lose a few touches to Justin Jackson from this point on, just because Jackson's looked so good. But in my opinion, Eckler is just going to be the same guy if and when Gordon does come back. I think he will be, even when Gordon is back, you can still slot him in as a flex play, even like a running back too. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think he is a good running back too. RB2 here. He has I have him ranked for the rest of the season as running back 21. So that's right, pretty much where you explained. And like you said, 6 receptions a game. Over 60 yards reception, over 60 receiving yards per game. So yeah, I have no issues rolling out Austin Eckler for the rest of the year, really. And his schedule isn't crazy. He does play Miami, which is nice in week 4. He has if you want to call it tough, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Chicago. They've been playing the running backs well so far. We'll see what happens with Pittsburgh. But, besides that little stretch in the middle of the season, it's not really that bad. He has a late bye, which helps. So, yeah, I like Austin Eckler. I think, look, if you could sell him high as an RB1, yes. I mean, if you can, I'll give you a list of people that you can sell him for that I think, if you can, go for it. Josh Jacobs, Sony Michel, Marlon Mack, probably Joe Mixon and Mark Ingram. Those are kind of pretty much those guys in that group that I would trade away. If I had Austin Eckler, I'd want those guys. I'd even go as far as saying maybe even Matt Breida. I think Matt Breida has a little bit more value. But after that, guys that I wouldn't trade, I would probably take Austin Eckler over David Montgomery, over Devonta Freeman, over Damian Williams, Carlos Hyde.
You should take anybody.
Kerryon Johnson is a maybe. Yeah. Carlos Hyde has 20 rushes last week against Jacksonville. That's sneaky.
I'm not sure he can sustain that. I don't think that's going to. I don't know. He does this every year, right? He
Probably
has
not.
these games where he's really good, and then he puts up a donut next week, right? So
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'm a Texans fan, and I was all on the Duke Johnson train, but I'm slowly falling off of it right now because he's not looking the best right now neither.
So, Austin Eckler, Kerryon Johnson are kind of, I believe, around the same value. I might take Kerryon Johnson before Eckler, but that's a tough one. That's maybe more of a gut call there.
Yeah.
So, just to give you again, that's just my rest of season rankings you can find on the site.
Yeah,
but,
so basically you're saying depending on if you could get any of those guys that you listed, then you would sell high on him. If not, you're content with just keeping him, correct?
Yeah.
I agree.
And everybody has a price,
Yeah.
right? I mean, when people are like, oh, would you trade DeAndre Hopkins? Like, yeah, of course, for the right
Exactly.
price.
Yeah.
Nobody's never off the table when we're trading. And I am not a very good trader, by the way. But, I try. I don't have good. My back and forth skills are pretty bad. Like when somebody says, "Oh, do you want this trade?" I'm like, "No," and I don't like counter. I get lazy about it. I'm not very motivated.
The way that I'm similar, same thing. There's so many times I'll just hit like cancel, and someone will be like, "What the hell? Like, why counter or something?" So then I'll go just like overboard, right? I'll just be like, "Give me somebody that I know they're not going to, just so that they go one step lower," and kind of works out sometimes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's see. I'm just going down here. What I'm going to do with Devonta Freeman. This is a pretty interesting one. I'm a little nervous about Freeman. He hasn't scored yet this year. No Atlanta running back has scored this year yet. Will that turn around? Of course, eventually it'll correct itself. Me and Brito talked about this last episode. Maybe he gets back on board this week against Indianapolis, a pretty good matchup. And he has Tennessee, which Tennessee has been doing pretty good against the run. So I don't have a lot of faith. I mean, he has 19 rushes through the first 2 games.
And he's losing
snaps
to Ito Smith more than what I thought he was. But to go into that, like if you like, I have him in my starts column this week as well. I think he
has a great matchup.
I think this is the week that they're going to get him going.
If not, push the panic button.
Absolutely.
If this should be a game where Freeman finds the end zone and does okay. If he doesn't produce, this is the time to be like, okay, cut bait, do something with him. Sell low, I guess, for somebody with high upside. I don't know. I guess we could talk about that after this, but this week he should be good, and we're going to get into your starts column in a minute. But yeah, I'm looking at his name right there on your article there. All right, let's keep going down. Let's see, how much time do we have left here? All right, let's go a couple more. I like answering some of these questions here.
What's your thought? How about this one? I actually really thought this question was interesting. The DJ Moore without Cam, how do you think how that's gonna pan out?
Look, Cam Newton hasn't thrown a touchdown pass this year, and I think I read somewhere it's been like 8 home games or something like that. Something. Don't quote me on that. I'm bad at remembering this stuff, but it was something crazy like the last 7 or 8 home games, he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass, which is nuts. Without Cam, I don't know if the passing attack can get any worse.
No, I mean, and the thing is, though, with if you look at how good Moore is right now, like Cam's been like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and Moore's still on pace for, I read today, 192 targets, 128 receptions, and 1,300 plus yards, and that's with Newton being just terrible. So now, if you think about it, with Kyle Allen coming in, I think he's going to be perfectly fine. To be honest with you, all of his catches, all of his catches have been short passes. He hasn't been going. I think his yards per catch is like somewhere around 8 yards per catch. So all of the yardage he's getting, it's basically he's catching short passes and he's running with it, right? And compared to Curtis Samuel, whose yards per catch is like over 14. So even if Allen's just dumping him off, I think Moore's still going to get his catches, get his yards, and I think it's going to be no different.
Yeah, exactly. If they play him safe, or they play Kyle Allen safe, which is Cam's backup, and he can still dink and dunk. Last time he started Week 17 last year, he went for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. again, that was kind of garbage time, whatever. It wasn't garbage town, but it was garbage time, and I mean he's serviceable at least, right? I mean he could play.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so. I think I have him as my wide receiver 28 this week, I think. Yeah, okay. So I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, he's playable. One of our good loyal listeners, Patrick, we call him Outback Pat, right? We used to. He said he left Outback and went to AT&T. Grade the trade. Outback has its perks. You get free bloomin' onion, I'm sure, being a manager at Outback. I'm sure after a while you kind of get bored of the steaks and stuff, just because it's like, okay, you probably know where they come from. Maybe not, subpar cooking or whatever. I don't know. So you kind of get bored of the steaks after a while. AT&T, on the other hand, you get good upgrades on the iPhone.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, I'm going to sound like an idiot. Right? So that's like a phone provider?
Oh my god!
Yeah, guy, we don't have AT&T here.
Clayton. Do you know Outback Steakhouse is?
It only lasted in Edmonton here for like 2 years, and it's out of here. She gone.
Really?
Yeah. There's not one here anymore.
That's crazy, man. Outback at my, I'm in the South. I'm in North Carolina. So it's the Southeast, but Outback, it has a line out the door every day.
Really?
Big fat rednecks love their steak.
No, it lasted here. No, like I said, a couple years, and it was gone. I ate there a few times, and it was very good.
Yeah, not bad.
But I wouldn't be leaving a Outback Steakhouse to go work at a phone company, though. I'll tell you that. My wife works for a phone company here. Yeah,
does
she does.
Oh, okay. I don't know. AT&T's pretty reputable, and hey, look, I always judge jobs and moving jobs by opportunity, just like running backs. But hey, if you have the opportunity to advance and further your career and provide better for your family, then you do what you got to do, man.
That is true.
If Outback, if the manager position or whatever position you had at Outback, if it was like, okay, this is what I'm going to be for the next 10 years,
and
AT&T
maxes out at your management, up. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I give you an A. All right. I give you an A. How about that?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. All right, last one. Kevin Shepard. He is thinking about starting Frank Gore over James Conner this week. Is he crazy?
I don't know if he's crazy. I think you kind of want to. I want to figure out. I heard Connor's good to go. Correct.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading. And then
he practiced fully on Thursday.
Yeah, and then what's the story with Singletary? And is he supposed to play, or was he out of practice as well today?
He did not practice. Let me see. Yep, he missed 2 practices, Wednesday and Thursday, with a hamstring issue.
I don't know. What would you do in that case? Would that be crazy to start Gore over Conner?
I am not starting Gore over Conner. Is it crazy? Probably not. I have Frank Gore at 34 overall, and I'll probably bump him up a little bit more if Devin Singletary is definitely out. So say somewhere around 30, and I'll have Conner somewhere around like 20. Right now I'm at 18. By the time the game times run around, I might bump him down a couple spots. Probably put Josh Jacobs ahead of him. San Francisco, they're okay. So, and James Conner's playing against San Francisco this week. So, I wouldn't call you crazy, but I'm probably starting Conner over.
Yeah,
Gore.
I would agree with that. I got Conner, I think, at what I'm looking at here, 18. And I mean, I still ranked Singletary in here just until I know what's going on with that situation. So I have him ahead of Gore by 5 spots right now. So I have Gore at 36.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. All right, cool. So we're agreeing. We're agreeing to this. All right. Again, guys, Eat Nation private group on Facebook. Good stuff. We got all our questions from there, and we'll probably do it again next week. So
here, one more question for you, only because I'm asking for my kid. O.J. Howard, what are you going to do with him?
I'm sticking with him, and I'm starting him this week. Yeah, I am. I think, again, this is, who are we just talking about? Freeman. This is his test here. This is how I kind of feel with O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard's going against the Giants this week. I have him at 6 as the 6th best tight end, ahead of guys like Darren Waller. Who do I have at 7 here? Jeez. And now, I have Jared Cook way high this week too. So yeah, I like. If O.J. Howard's going to score and going to do good, it's going to be this week.
It's against the Giants,
if not,
right there, they've struggled against tight ends anyways. So
yeah.
I have him at 7. I think our rankings are completely different as far as, because you say you have him ahead of Waller. I have Waller like at number 6 this week.
Yeah,
Cook way down there.
Yeah, everybody is. Yeah. I'm the highest on Cook. Everybody has Cook above 12, 13, 14. I think John has him at 21.
Yeah, I have him at 14.
And I have him at 7. Yeah, so I'm a little higher than most with Jared Cook.
Okay, so basically this week you don't perform, then you start to panic. Yeah.
Yep. I'm starting him this week. For me, if I don't have a top tier guy, if I'm deciding between like O.J. Howard and I don't know, Jimmy Graham or something like that, I'm starting O.J. Howard.
Yeah, I have to worry about Jimmy Graham. I don't know if obviously I'm starting him because I have him, but he worries me too. Didn't get nothing again last week. Had a good week 1, nothing again. But that's what it is. I didn't realize how, now that I actually pay attention to the tight end position, I never go for any of those top 3 guys. And I didn't realize, you're scraping the barrel. Any of these guys can go off any given week. Yep.
That's the tight end position for you. We said at the beginning of the season, what Mark Andrews has done in the first two weeks, he set himself up to be already a top 12 tight end pretty much. If he gets 40 yards a game for the rest of the season, he's going to be a top 10, top 12 tight end.
Where did you rank him this week against Kansas City?
Mark Andrews, I have him at 1 overall.
Ooh. Nice. Yeah. I have him at 4. I thought I was high. Wow.
I really like Mark. I think Mark Andrews, although he did miss practice on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure he's still going to play. I haven't heard anything that he won't. But dude, he's a monster.
He's
and I think
out for sure.
As long as Lamar Jackson keeps performing the way he is, 18 targets through 2 games, over 200 yards.
And that's the Baltimore offense for you too, right? Always using tight end position.
Yep. By the way, I don't know if you've seen Jimmy Graham lately. He looks like he's aged really bad.
Someone actually
he looks like he's 40
we were just watching the game actually on Sunday, and actually, one of my buddies said the exact same thing. He's like, "How old is Jimmy Graham?" I'm like, he's like,
he looks bad, man. How old? Let me see how old he is. Do you know how old?
I think he's late, 29 or something.
32 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. 32 years old. Dude, he's a beast. 6'7", ran a 4.56 40-yard dash. But I'm looking at pictures when he was a rookie, when he was with the Saints, and then looking now, man, it's football does not treat him well.
Because he just keeps thinking about the year that he had with the Saints and how he's never been able to get that anywhere near that again.
Yeah. Well, poor guy. He's played with Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. He's had a tough life.
Yeah, exactly. Catch the ball, man. Come on.
All right, let's go through. I know we're kind of we're doing pretty good on timing. Let's go through some of your sits and starts. I have my own opinions on some of these guys. I'm gonna kind of let you take the reins here. I'll mention them, and I want you to give your kind of quick analysis, quick hitting. We don't have to really go in deep. But your first start of the week is Jimmy Garoppolo against the Steelers. Any particular reason why Jimmy Garoppolo stayed out?
I like the way he struggled in week 1. I like how he came back last week. Threw for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, completed 68% of his passes, and just the weapons that he has on this team right now is there's no reason why he can't continue this against a Pittsburgh defense that's going to have it rough this week, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And the Steelers are what? They're just outside top 5 for most fantasy points to the quarterback position too. So that's a bonus.
Yeah. I'm gonna, next time I talk to John, I want to ask him to elaborate on this Dante Pettis. What's going on?
I don't know, man. I got him in a dynasty league. I was so excited this whole year, and now I'm like, I had to put him back on. Like, we have what we call the farm. Put him back down there, and picked up like Devin Smith. I think I'm going to start this week over him, and I'm like, what the hell?
I think you just got to be patient with Dante Pettis. All right, should I do my John Chapman impression?
Do it.
Okay. All right. This is John Chapman. Hey, John, what do you do about Dante Pettis? Well, I'm telling you, man, this guy has legs for days. I mean, he plays all positions. He can really get into the zone when you're going deep balls or shallow. This guy's footwork and his mechanics are out of this world. You really need to stay patient with Dante Pettis. Jimmy Garoppolo is the next greatest thing ever. We all love Jimmy Garoppolo because we know he's the best quarterback in the world. And just be patient with Dante Pettis because Dante Pettis is going to be the best wide receiver ever. That's John Chapman.
It sounded exactly like him. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. I try to throw in those words that he says, the fancy words. Anyways, yeah, so Jimmy Garoppolo, I wasn't a huge fan after seeing him in preseason the first week, but I think he's kind of getting his own. And, Kyle Shanahan is a genius and can move guys around and make it happen. So
yeah, and do you think Deebo Samuel? You think he's the number one there? Well, he is right now, I think. As far as receiver goes, right?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to, right? I mean, you have Marquise Goodwin, who is more of a big play, deep ball guy, right? And Deebo Samuel is he had 87 yards and a touchdown, and of course George Kittle.
Yeah, he's a monster.
We all know that. But, yeah. All right, cool. All right, so who else do you have here? Let's look at one more QB, Phillip Rivers against the Texans. You think Mike Williams is the beneficiary of a good game from Phillip Rivers?
I think so because he's healthier than he was last week, and he performed last week. So he had the extra week to get healthier. And it's just with this Texans defense, they seem to be giving up a lot through the air. They're giving up almost 300 yards through the air in the last 2 weeks. And Rivers he's currently quarterback 15 in fantasy, and he's thrown over 600 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. So he's got the weapons out there with Eckler. I think Eckler is going to be a beast this week. And I just think, the standard Allen, this is going to be a shootout, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Which is good news for the quarterbacks and wide receivers. All right. A couple guys, either you have mentioned on here. We kind of already talked about DJ Moore, Devonta Freeman. Allen Robinson you have mentioned here. He is playing the Redskins. Most likely he will be facing Josh Norman, but that doesn't scare you away enough to start him.
I think Norman's lost a step or 5 over the years. He doesn't look like the same. He's not that punishing cornerback that he used to be, and I just think Robinson looks like he did when he was in his prime. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was bottled up last week against Denver. But he's still getting targeted, and he's still getting receptions. So, and they're going up against the Redskins team that's giving up the 3rd most fantasy points to receivers right now too. So, there's going to be some yardage to be had against this team for sure.
Okay, let's talk about some of your sits here. You do not like Baker Mayfield this week against the Rams.
Yeah, it's the last couple weeks. You look at his game on Monday. It was Monday, right? Yeah, Monday against the Jets. Yeah, his numbers were great, but they were also helped out by Beckham Jr.'s 89-yard catch and run, right? His touchdown.
Yeah.
I think Baker. I'm a big Baker fan. Like I was excited to watch him last year, but now watching him this year, it's like he's lost something. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's the fact that it's going to his head now. But he just doesn't look like the same quarterback he ended the season last year.
No, there's there's definitely, they're playing differently for sure. They're trying to spread the ball out more. They're trying to throw it deep. They're not using Nick Chubb as much as they should. They're trying to unleash Baker. At least from my perspective, I don't watch a lot of Cleveland Browns film, but from my perspective and what I've seen on Monday, they're trying to unleash somebody that is not ready to be unleashed. They need to play him safe like they were last year, and let him do what he does. Spreading the ball around. I get it. You have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham catching the ball for you. You got to get the ball in their hands. But at the same time, you got to play to Baker's strengths.
Yep.
And spreading the ball out like this is not.
Yeah, is it not just me, though, too? They're throwing the ball a lot more than they did last year.
Seems like it.
I think, right?
Seems
and
like
that's why, and I think maybe that's why he's looking the way it is. Maybe by them limiting his throws last year and using Chubb quite a bit last year, maybe he just looked that much better. Maybe he isn't the most consistent thrower, because he did miss a lot of easy passes on Monday as well.
Yeah. I mean, Baker has attempted 38 passes week 1, 35 week 2. So without that big play from Odell Beckham Jr., you're looking at a sub 250 yard game,
and no touchdowns, right? If Beckham doesn't get that, right. So.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, against the Jets.
Yeah. Man, did you?
So,
definitely. How the hell did Simeon get up after that hit and just walk it off?
Crazy.
Yeah, he must have been just walked off, pure adrenaline, just walked off and then just sat down and was like, what the hell was that?
Yep, 100%. All right, a couple other sits, notable sits. Robbie Anderson's playing the Patriots. I mean, Sam Darnold's not back yet, and this offense sucks.
Yeah,
so
well, you got really Luke Falk. Falk is the name. Luke Falk. That's their quarterback, right?
I don't know. You're the pro.
Luke Falk's quarterback now, and that's already you're downgrading him, but he's also drawing probably Stephon Gilmore in this matchup against that's going to be a complete blowout. So I mean, they're going to try to force him the ball. It's not going to be good for this Jets team. I'm curious to see who's going to be worse at the end of the year, if it's going to be the Jets or Miami.
Listen, Sam Darnold is coming back week 5. That's what they're saying. In 2 of my leagues, Jamison Crowder was dropped last week, which is crazy. The Jets aren't good, and they're not going to be good. But Jamison Crowder is going to continue getting 10-plus targets a week with Sam Darnold healthy. I highly urge you to pick up Jamison Crowder as soon as you can.
Oh, absolutely. I actually picked him up in the Dynasty League, and it's one of these ones where we can sign for like a 1 to 3 years or something like that. I signed him for 2 years just because, for length of his contract with the Jets, just because I knew he was going to get a lot of play rate from the get-go, just because they needed that slot receiver, and he's always been good when he had the ball.
Yep.
So
I agree. And Sam Darnold's going to. I mean, you saw him. I think if my memory serves me right, it's 17 targets that he had in week
17,
1. Yeah. I mean, that's huge vote of confidence. Right there. So pick up Jamison Crowder if he's available. Even buy low. I mean, do what you got to do to get. As bad as this is, Sam Darnold's going to feed him. And Chris Herndon, the tight end, he's coming back from his suspension pretty soon.
Yeah, that'll be
after week 4.
After week 4, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold comes back week 5, so perfect for everybody.
You're right. So basically you're telling me Miami is just still going to be the worst team in the league.
100%. I think we talk about the Miami Dolphins every episode for the last 20 episodes. But the Dolphins are far and away the worst team ever. Probably worse than the winless. Didn't the Lions go winless one year? The Browns went winless once. Like recently,
in all the years I've watched football, this has got to be the worst team. Miami's got to be the worst team I've ever watched, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think they are. Let's see. Since 1944, only 5 teams have had winless seasons: the 1960 Dallas Cowboys, the 76 Bucks, 82 Baltimore Colts, 2008 Lions, and the 2017 Cleveland Browns. and for me, because I'm only 36 years old, the 08 Lions and the 17 Browns are the only ones I know, and I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are worse than those two teams.
No, I'd be in the same boat as you. Those are the two that I would remember. So, yeah, definitely worse than both of those teams.
All right. Probably the biggest surprise sit that you have here is Josh Jacobs playing the Vikings. Why?
It's just his defense. I think the Minnesota defense is solid right there. It's going to be a negative game script too, and Jacobs has not been active in the passing game at all. Right? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously,
sure.
If you're going to play him, or if you have him, you're going to play him. But the fact of I believe that Oakland's going to get down super early in this one. Negative game script. He's dealing with a groin injury now as well. It's just it's not aligning for him, I don't think, in this game.
Right. You stay patient with Josh Jacobs. He plays Minnesota this week. He plays Chicago week 5, and then week 6 he has his bye. But week 7 on, it's looking juicy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
14 and 15 are tough matchups, but 7 through 13. He's going to be a beast, and he's going to get better as the season goes on, I think. So stay patient with Josh Jacobs over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I like him. You know, I've liked him. I'm curious to see how his body's going to hold up, though, as far as with all this carries that he's going to be getting. But he's looked good. He's looked good up to this point.
Right. So I'll just kind of breeze through a couple of the quarterbacks that I like to sit, and then I'll go through a couple that I don't like that I don't like to sit, that I do like to start. And you could tell me if you disagree with any of this stuff. I'm going to kind of go to like surprising sits, right? I'm going to go first quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins start. Jameis Winston start. Josh Allen start. I really, really like Josh Allen this week.
I agree.
Actually, my rankings, I think people are going to call me crazy because I have Josh Allen as my 6th best quarterback. John has him at 4, so I'm not that crazy.
I have him at 7.
But yeah. I mean, he's solid, man. He's going to be good. Josh Allen, and those are my definitely starts. My sits, Derek Carr for sure. Joe Flacco. I do like the Baker Mayfield sit. I don't think he's going to have a good week. And Andy Dalton. That's it. I guess those aren't really surprising because whatever.
When I try to put this article together, I always try to look at. I didn't put Josh Allen up there because I think I wrote about him last week. So I try to put different guys out there, look at different matchups and everything like that. Just kind of look for the pluses in guys that I'm not going to be putting like Tom Brady and Matt Ryan, stuff like that up there. It's usually the bottom half of those quarterbacks, right, and look at who's going to have the better matchup.
Yep.
So stupid me, my number one rest of season quarterback, Gardner Minshew, I got him as a sit this week. This guy's a beauty. I just saw something come up about the picture of him and the stuff that he does with his whole stretching routine with, he puts his aviators on and jockstrap and just stretches in front of everybody. He has a freaking beauty. I told Sarah, I said, let's have another kid and name him Gardner. She's like, get the hell out of here.
Some of my running back to start and sits. The obvious, Mark Ingram is another really good start. We called him a good start week 1, and he was. He's another great start this week. Devonta Freeman, like you mentioned, is a good start. That was a good call, I think. I really like David Montgomery this week. I think he bounces back. Surprisingly enough, and I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but Payton Barbour is a good start this week.
Yeah, I also have him on as my other starts. I have him written down there. And I also have
nice.
It's funny, I just said I was off the Duke Johnson bandwagon. I got him as a start only because game script, right? Because I think it's going to be a shootout.
Sure.
And that's where I think he's going to get his stats are going to be through the air, right? So
yeah. Some of my sits for running backs, don't really like Joe Mixon. I don't like Kerryon Johnson. I don't like whatever Kansas City running back you have, whatever you're feeling, however you feel about whatever Kansas City running back, it's going to be tough for him. And Adrian Peterson, you're not super excited about Adrian Peterson, I don't think, this year at all. But Adrian Peterson and Payton Barbour go like hand in hand, I feel like. They're running backs. They're gonna play. They're gonna get touches, but it's like.
But every time you insert them in your lineup, you want to vomit.
You're like wincing, right?
Yeah.
You're like putting them in there, like, oh God, should I put Geronimo Allison instead?
Yeah, and all you're
like,
hoping when you're watching the game is as soon as one of them gets it, you're just like, touchdown. You're like, oh, please be. All I need is one touchdown, and everything's perfect. That's what I don't. That's my thing with either of those guys. It's just I have Payton Barbour in my starts column, and I'm just like but he's been running well. That's the thing, right? And Ronald Jones is still not doing much of anything right now. So
what a waste, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that was a very efficient episode. Usually when I have Brito or John on, they get way crazy, and I don't get to give the info that I want. That's being mean. That's not true. But I do love when Canadian Clayton joins the podcast.
Well, I hope I didn't blow it too much, and I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me anytime, man.
Yeah. All right, so that wraps it up. If you guys want the rankings that I talked about, you can get Clayton's rankings as well on the site as soon as I update it. You can get his rankings, all the ESF not all the ESF contributors, but I don't know, 6 of them are on our website, I think. Also, all the articles that Clayton's writing is on the website as well, on Twitter, at Kadu Clayton on Twitter. Good luck spelling Kadu. Even if Clayton spells it, you're not going to remember it because he's going to change his Twitter name soon.
I'll change it. I think I'm going
to convince him to change it. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you listening, downloading to the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We're going to start putting some more and more video out as well. So subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And I think that's about it. We appreciate it. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Or later. Maybe next week. Probably next week. We're not going to record a Saturday episode. So we'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Yeah. Eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation with
John,
Dale, Christian, and Armando. Screaming Eat Nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Yeah, Eat, Sleep, Fantasy. Eat, Sleep, Fantasy.